So to get started for today's community call, the first thing that we want to talk about is V2 of moderation. We're thinking about building out tooling for ResearchHub users to help moderate specific hubs. We're also thinking about calling moderators editors from here on out, where the idea is that people can recruit editors to ResearchHub who are in charge of essentially ensuring high quality content is on each individual hub. We're thinking almost like editors of a journal in the journals to hub paradigm. So what we'd like to do is spend some time during the next sprint to help build out some actual tools to make it easier for editors to do their jobs. And this is just going to be basically like a Stack Overflow style moderation system to help ensure high quality content and community growth. So Anton and Kobe have been thinking a little bit about this. I guess, Kobe, do you want to maybe pull up the doc we're just looking at and we can give a quick overview?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up.
I guess before we get started, Nami, how do you feel about the title of editor for someone who's responsible for curating content and getting rid of spam and posting good stuff themselves?
Yeah, so the picture that I have is the journal editor, right? And which is a bit kind of authoritative figure, and that's kind of feel to it. But I think from outside, it feels like more kind of higher place than I guess moderator or something like that. From the inside perspective, maybe if you're called as editor as an academic, I think it kind of feels good. Also plus more expected responsibilities and whatnot, so maybe that's kind of feel about it, just user sense. I think that's my guess.
So to repeat it back, you like the term editor because it fits kind of science more and can help. I think when people get asked to be editors of journals, it's kind of a compliment. So in a similar vein type thing.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's gonna be how dense or how the validation process is, but I would I can see people wanting to put this editor in their CVs. Maybe I don't know if that's thing, but it's being editor is kind of a big thing. I feel like in academic space, at least the places that I was in. So maybe a good thing to more expect a little bit more and be consistent and things like that.
Totally. Yeah. Resume booster. I mean, I think it would be huge for us if a editor of the biochemistry hub, helped them, get a job in the future. So then people who are editors of journals now, right? It's never grad students and postdocs, the editor in chief will invite some well-known professor in a field to be an editor. It can't just be anybody, right? And that's why it is a valuable CV thing.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I mean, editor has associated editors working on them and things like that. So that's there's structure to it. So one of the concern here is is it too much parallelism, replicating the same structure? But I'm sure it's not the case. So it's kind of appropriating the term editor sounds like I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's I think exactly what we're thinking. And long term, we'd set up elections basically. So the editorial board of Nature, you could elect them in theory.
Yeah, yeah. I think once we get the DAO involved more, I think that'll be really good for us. Yeah. So I think the main goals are we want to focus on this program to grow the community, diversify our content, encourage discussion, curate quality. So we want to make sure things are looking good. At the moment, we'll start with an editor as the only thing we have. This editor is going to do some things every week, and we're going to pay him essentially a salary in RSC. And each hub can have, we talked about just now, can have one or more editors. Because depending on the hub size and our need and stuff like that. So, and every editor to join will earn a salary. So that would be the way it works. And the way, like, what we're thinking of, we need to create like a set of features to like really kind of improve, I guess, like launch this program, but not launch, but build on it. So the first thing we're going to do is expose like some kind of a CTA, like editor program at the top of the navigation, something to make people want to click on it. Once you click on it, it will take you to a landing page. This is a really gamey Reddit page, but it's going to be a landing page with some FAQ, maybe the general responsibilities that we expect an editor to take part on, and like a link to a form, of the application, like allowing you to apply to become an editor. Once you've applied and we look through the application, if it looks good, then at the moment, Joyce or Anton will jump on a call and interview the editor further. And if they fit what we need, then we will approve them to become an editor of a specific hub. Any questions so far? Anything? Does that sound reasonable to you guys? Okay. So with that said, so once they've become approved, so the next step is like, what do they need to do? So that's what we've been discussing. So they need to do a bunch of things, and it's all in the air right now. What exactly is going to be? What's going to happen is we're probably going to have a set of loose guidelines that they will need to take action. So it's going to be something like submitting 3 interesting papers per week to your hub, including key takeaways. Maybe we'll bring back that feature back, probably not, only for editors and the discussion comments. So you can't just submit a paper. You got to submit like some kind of a comment to go with the paper to spark a discussion. We're talking about like how to also spark more conversation around other features of the site, like hypotheses and posts. Maybe we will have like the editors create like 1 hypothesis a month or so, and maybe a couple of posts. Definitely want to reply to comments. So something like reply to 5 comments with a question or something. So you're not like just starting the conversation, but you're contributing to existing conversation. And, in the future, once things get better and we have a DAO more in place, then the quality of tasks will be reviewed periodically. And the review process we will define in the future. And also in the future, the DAO, not just like Joyce and Anton, but the DAO can be the one to vote on who should become an editor and who is, should be voted out and something like that. And yeah, so, and I think Joyce and Anton, maybe you had like a couple of other things to add to this. Yeah, another thing we're thinking about, like maybe supporting, like giving an allowance to editors to support comments and stuff like that too. My thing is like I want to create an economy. An economy can't be just like one-sided. You gotta like spend, and we need to like kick RC in the butt to in the spending direction. So anyway, let me pause here. What do you guys? Anyone has anything to add? Questions?
What are the current things in Anton, your power user program that's happening? Is this like very similar or is it different?
So the first one is, so yeah, they submit a paper and they leave a starter comment. That one they get the most coins for. The second one, they find the paper someone uploaded that has no comments and leave a comment there. And then the third one that they get to twice is they ask a question or they do some sort of follow-up to other people's comments. So it is similar.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, like, if we try to force people to do some of this stuff, after like 3 weeks, are people going to be like, if there's no engagement on their stuff, are people going to be like, I quit?
It's definitely possible, especially for users who do it not just for money. And frankly, we want those users the most, right?
Right. Right.
They do it for engagement, right? They do it for
Mhm.
communication, and that's why I think it's important that we have specific goals where we ask them to interact with each other, or at least with other users. So asking questions, rewarding quality stuff, all sorts of engagement. I agree.
I guess one thing here is like, Anton, since the start of your Power Users program, how many people have dropped off?
Well, I would say it is definitely a concern. Yeah, so we had a few super active users, and they are occasional users now. And I think now most users do stuff like once per 3 days, perhaps. So
And what were they doing before to now?
well, before they were posting every day or every other day.
Okay, every day. And has anybody dropped completely?
Give me a second. Hard to say. Yeah, I have a few people who haven't showed up for 5 days.
So I think like we'll probably get something very similar to that happening here.
Mhm.
I think what we need to understand a little bit is like, how much activity do these people need to maintain their velocity?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Like
like
activity from like others.
yeah, it's like I worry about like submit 3 papers a week. It's actually a lot of work to do that. After 3 weeks, I can see people being like, I'm not doing this anymore. I worry about like a lot of this stuff that kind of happening, you know, because like maybe it's not their main job, right? Like they're doing other stuff, and then now they're like, why am I doing some of this stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
But I don't know how to get around that 100%.
that's why we're thinking, like Joyce and Anton and I were just talking, maybe we, instead like of like forcing them to do any particular activity, we just create like a set of things that they can do, and maybe they need to just like do a bunch of those. Like maybe like papers is optional, but you can also do comments, and you can also do this and that, because like with comments, at least like there is engagement and it's not so lonely, as opposed to papers. Maybe you really don't have any papers to submit because you haven't read anything this week.
So for that, I think, so think about it this way: if they refuse to do it for money, they're probably not going to do it for free, right? So if we want to take care of our editors, essentially, I hear you, Patrick, and perhaps we should limit the more boring or more effortful tasks, and we should focus on the tasks that feel good to work on, but they also look like they're a lot of work. So maybe think about it this way: so to start a conversation is the hardest step, right? So answering to someone's question is way more manageable, or asking questions.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe we should limit the tasks that are like start the conversation and focus more on like continue the conversation type of thing.
One thought I have here is like we kind of have this cool opportunity with the Power User program that's currently operating to test some of these hypotheses.
Yeah.
So maybe we could like readjust the Power User program now if, Pat, you're thinking like some of these extra tasks like cause too much cognitive burden.
Yeah, what I'm thinking almost is like there's 2 types of users: people who submit papers, and then people who like replies to comments. You know, like I don't know why, like, but in my head, like submitting a paper actually feels like a lot of work, and I don't know if that's fully true, but it feels like a lot of work to, especially 3 interesting papers a week. Feels like, I don't know.
It's hard with the summary for sure. Like if you need to put a good summary, it's like 45 minutes to an hour at minimum.
And
but
it's also
submitting a paper is easy.
It's also, there is a lot of burden on like you stake your reputation in a way.
Right. That's what you stake your rep on like what's cool and what's like. So then then you feel like I need to go find something interesting, and then it becomes it's not like I'm just posting a paper, right? It's like I need to find something interesting. And then you do that often, because that's like a lot of papers, right? Like each month, that's 12 papers you got to do.
I guess
on this program. It's kind of a lot.
do you guys every week come across 3 papers in your field that you think are interesting? Like how many per week do you come across? You're like, oh shit, like this is kind of cool.
But they're supposed to be interesting for everyone, right? So I mostly read boring stuff, so I wouldn't upload any of that. So when I have to post the interesting stuff, I go out of my way to find it.
But an editor, right? Like an editor of the field, like some papers are boring. So it should be like, if you're doing psychology, what's interesting to you as a psychologist, not necessarily like filtered through the lens of what's going to be popular.
But do we want to tailor it to now, or do we want to tailor it to a year from now when there is an active community, right? Because right now I can't be like, I'll upload something for just cognitive psychologists because there are none.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, but what do you guys think about just like having a set, like what I mentioned earlier, just like a bunch of things you can do. You don't have to focus on only submitting a paper. You can do comments instead. So as you mentioned, like start a conversation or continue a conversation. And then you can choose.
I wonder if like we're putting too much work on one group of people.
And especially disproportional, we actually put disproportional work on diligent and people who care, right? Because they produce the most intricate stuff. So if you guys think this is a direction, I can go back and think of the different set of tasks that feel good more, the less burden.
Yeah, I mean, if you can think of anything, I just don't know what other things we have on the site that can do that other than comments. Like what other things you can do that to socially engage? I don't know.
So even within comments, we can figure out multiple ways people can do stuff, right? We can ask people to do more like thread type of thing, right? To converse on one specific topic. We can ask people to ask questions. We can ask people to answer those questions within comments, right?
Yeah, which is why I think like the guidelines thing is good. So like with comments, we can list like thing number 1 you can do, and then thing number 2, and thing number 3, and then you can do that. And we learn from it. I guess I don't know what is good. And I think another thing is that, and maybe you guys, don't share the same perspective, but I think it's a good opportunity for people that are joining us. And we're only seeing it from like, oh, we're kind of asking them to do a lot, which we are, but also it's like, I think that's ResearchHub is going to become like a big thing, and that's why I'm here. And I think that's the people that join should feel that way, and we should send a clear message that they're here to help us grow. And right now, we're in a really, it's kind of like there is going to be a bit of a lonely phase, and you need to help us grow.
But then they do, but they burn out as they do. So.
Yeah, then they burn out is the problem. Yeah,
they burn out.
I wonder if we should split this program instead of being at like all. Because if we think about like Reddit, let's say, the mods on Reddit, they might help a subreddit by posting more, but like they're not gonna be posting every day either, like because it's too much work. It feels like to do that, and so it almost feels like we need another group, and the group like posting papers. It almost feels like we need them to like they're already reading the paper, so then they post it. And then they post a comment on it because they're already doing that work, so it doesn't feel like extra work. I don't know. I'm just spitballing something.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I don't know how to. I guess I really don't know how to. That would look.
It's true. I think eventually. So eventually, I think we can move to more like engagement-based metrics. Like if you manage to initiate a bunch of conversations, that's what your pay depends on. But for now, I think we can try a different approach, or like you said, we have an active power user program, somewhat active power user program that we can try experiment with. How about we dedicate the next week to trying the feels good tasks and
I like
see
it.
where it leads us?
Or what if we try this? Like, you as an editor, like, if you bring in like 5 people who post papers, like, you don't have to post the papers, right? But if you get people to post papers, you know, because either they're in your lab, you know, they're in your vicinity, like they're already working on this thing, they're going to post a paper, they're going to make a comment, like that goes towards you as well.
Recruiting people is difficult, actually.
You think so?
Yeah, in my experience, people struggle. It's definitely not a feel good because you also stake a reputation, right? You invite a person to some place, right? What if they don't like this place, and you're inviting your friends?
What if the pitch is different? Like, these guys help us tell other people, like, hey, join ResearchHub, claim your 100 RSC, whatever, by just posting a paper. Like, post a paper, and then like their job may be to then comment on these people's posts. I don't know.
I think we could do something where like it's not like a referral specifically, but just
Right.
the editors earn tokens if their hub grows by 3% every month or something when it comes to active users. Like something simple like that, where we don't tell them what to do, just help grow the hub and you earn some extra tokens. Anton, I totally think we should switch up the power user program this week though, and like message everybody and say, hey, we're trying something new. We want to see how it changes behavior, you know, like because we eventually want it to feed into this. But yeah, we should totally do it this week to see if we can kickstart anything.
So it should be like the power user. I mean, this editor program should be dynamic. That's what I'm hearing. Like, where 1 week you focus on one thing and another week you focus on something else, depending on what Anton feels and you, Joyce, feel is right direction for that week.
Do you guys think it'd be easy to have like, hey, if you grow your hub by 5% every month, you get some added, you know, bonus RSC?
I think it would take like a week
Eventually.
to build something like that. Yeah.
It
I
will
like
be.
Sorry,
Go
because
ahead.
rather than micromanage of like comments or questions or whatever,
Right,
just
right.
put it up to them, hey, grow this. And that probably entails like comments, questions, you know, lots of different things. But you let the person have the autonomy.
It does. So this one, it probably is for later stages, right? When we have, you know, active new influx of users, because right now you're like, I'm doing my best, posting very compelling questions and everything, but no one is reading. What can I do? You know?
Right.
Yeah, and right now growing a hub, like when, you know, growing a hub with no users by 5% is, I guess maybe it's still worthwhile, because I'm saying like there is a lot of action, and maybe we should do it. I don't know.
So the people that Brian is reaching out to be these editors are like YouTubers who like PhDs who have audiences.
They have
And
audience.
I think there are scientists too who also have audiences where like if you're a famous scientist with 50,000 followers on Twitter, you know, you'd probably be pretty good at growing hubs. And so yeah, I think
especially for those people, let me jump in real quick. I don't think they would want to do a lot of this stuff, you know, because like they're like, oh, I got other shit that fulfills me, you know. I don't want to just be here doing grunt work, right? So it does feel like we need something different to kickstart, and then these guys are here to bring their audience in, kind of thing. And like then they're here to be like, oh, I'll give you my stamp of approval because I think this paper is cool and I think this thing is cool. This is cool.
Yeah, what you're saying, Pat, is that we need something that's very like intrinsically rewarding to these people.
Not even, yeah, for these types of people, yeah. I'm almost thinking like we have two problems. One is we don't have enough papers being submitted, right? And then like partly because of that, like we don't have enough people commenting on the papers. Like we have these two things going on. In my mind, I'm like, okay, there's so many PhDs reading papers every week, and like they can post their analysis of a paper, right? Can't we just tell them, hey, we're gonna give you RSC, you know, like just show up, do it, you're gonna get RSC. Ideally, when we do that, like a lot of people show up, they'll do it. Some of them will stay because they're like, I like this, you know, and then they'll start doing it normally. And then like they'll also look at other papers because they're like, oh, I like this community. And
you
just
think-
based on that, we'll capture people.
Like
and
key
then that'll
takeaways?
continue to grow.
You mean like key takeaways or something like that? Or
No, not even key takeaways. Just make a comment like, here is my thoughts on this paper. This is why I think it's good or whatever. Like this is my analysis, basically.
Yeah, but now you're getting into like, how do we get these people? That's a struggle. That's the difficult part.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, what do we do? Because right now we're trying to incentivize people to become editors, to do this work. What I'm thinking is like, it's too much work for one editor to do. So why don't we try to get like hundreds of thousands of people to do this work? You know, like each do one thing, right? And our pull is like, we're going to give you RSC, you know, like we're going to give you the same RSC would give the editors to do some of this stuff. We're going to give you some RSC, whether that's $50. Like if we tell people it's $50, I'm sure a lot of people will show up and be like, oh yeah, I'll spend like 20 minutes doing this for $50. You know, like it's nothing. And then the hope is some of them will stay, right?
It's the quality control becomes a problem, right? When you have an uncontrolled influx of users posting things just to get $50.
But I feel like we need a big base like that to then have a smaller group who stays, because then these editors can do their job, right? Then these editors can be like, oh, there's like 50 papers submitted this week. Like, let me comment on the most interesting ones. Maybe it's hard for them still, but like maybe they love reading papers, you know, and it's like, oh, they already know all these papers. And so that gives like very clear, like, I don't know. It feels to me that like it makes a distinction between what you're doing here and like it makes it easier for you to not burn out, maybe potentially.
Isn't that like a referral program then with specific actions that you need to take after referral?
Almost, yeah. But I think like we would need to lead that almost, where like we would need to potentially like, or like get these editors to go lead that, where somebody's going to the universities telling people that you can get RSC for doing this thing. Like it needs to like we need somebody to get that word out there, you know.
Some kind of an outreach mechanism.
Yeah, we somehow need to get the word out there that hey, you can earn RSC for doing XYZ.
Yeah.
So
like it's not
to merge these two ideas. I think Brian's idea is the editor is that person who's like,
maybe the editor is the person.
Yeah. I'm going to reach out to all these biochemistry students at UC Berkeley, and I've got like maybe a pot of 2,000 RSC I can give out in 50 RSC increments to stuff I find cool. But yeah, like that human, like the person is working almost for ResearchHub kind of to help grow the hub.
So maybe the editors that we pick are not just like smart people. I don't know. Like, do we need to pick people that can reach audiences? Like, oh, you're like person that knows a bunch of people in a school, or you have a YouTube and you have a bunch of members that you can refer to. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, it seems like we just need more people, as Pat said. Like, and then then we can the quality can be assured afterwards.
I totally think so, Kobe. I think it can definitely start off as like growth marketing and then end up as like quality control in a decade down the road.
So with that being said, like, okay, so the editor program, one of the responsibilities is outreach. Maybe we just need to make it a general responsibility to outreach. Is there a way we can quantify the outreach? Like, yeah, if we say like, oh, general response, I know we're out of time, by the way. If you guys have to drop off, you can drop off. But this is a heated topic and it's very important to figure out. So what do we do with this outreach? Do we say a general guideline, or do we provide some kind of I don't know, like how do we make this a thing? Any ideas on this one?
My thought here is just the growth of the hub. So just like weekly active users or maybe monthly active users, where it's just they have a added incentive to grow the users, which entails reaching out to people.
I think we can tell people like basically the tasks you have here, 3 papers a week, whatever, we can tell people that you don't have to post these. You can get, if you get other people to post these, then it also qualifies you, you know, like, right, like, or like maybe we don't even want you to post these. We want you to find 3 other people.
Yeah, it's more
post.
like find people, not necessarily bring new people, but even could be existing people.
Could be existing, yeah. Just
that
get people to
just
post. Yeah. And like I wonder if this is different from the editor program, because it's not clear to me like that Eleanor Shiki, who's on YouTube, would want to do this kind of work. But there's probably someone out there who would, you know, who wants to earn RSC. Yeah.
Do we need to call out like when a hub needs help that we need your help, and you can earn RSC directly proportional to
How much we need your help with?
yeah, how much like
Probably, yeah. We could probably come up with a whole scheme of like, yeah, like this hub, we need, this hub has 0 people in it. We need to get it kickstarted. So like your referrals are worth more, you know?
yeah, like basically like you leave a comment. I mean, yeah, I guess like if a hub is 0, let's take that example. Hub is 0 active users, and we really need your help. We can say like, oh, you can earn the most RSC by leaving a comment that qualifies. The qualification is a bit tricky, but let's say like Anton or someone needs to say it's qualified, and then you earn the 500 RSC. If a hub is 1 billion, then you earn maybe like 1 RSC or something like that. I don't know if it will work, but like something along the lines of
Yeah.
like that.
You remember, Joyce, the RSC giveaway? People
Mhm.
recruited people to join that. The only thing is like we didn't ever screen for quality. And so like shit became low quality. I do wonder if like part of the criteria we do have is like stuff needs to be high quality, and like you're not necessarily the poster, that program would actually kind of work. I mean, like, yeah, because people did recruit other people to go comment, upvote, whatever. Like it did happen, but like that's not the people we wanted. So
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think these editors probably should be trying to recruit people.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the editor should be trying to recruit people. Does it make sense to do some kind of a giveaway with a comment that meets the bar of a certain quality?
I think this is very easily like you can look at it and be like, is this what we want? Yes or no? If not, like you don't make your cut, you know? I think it's very easy for us to look at that.
Like an editor endorsement or something.
Yeah.
Editor endorsement, maybe editor endorsement or
Yeah, if the editor just, I mean, yeah, like,
endorsement or some editor. Like it could be like not the editor of that.
no,
hub.
I don't think it needs to be endorsed by the editor necessarily, but just like the editor can look at it and be like,
And,
is this person like a real person who's not trying to spam and collect coins, but like actually,
yeah.
very
Basically,
easy to tell.
if
Yeah.
the comment that someone you're saying, like if the comment someone leaves is approved, just basically by looking at it and saying like,
Yeah.
hey, it looks legit. Okay,
Yeah.
get on.
And we can have visibility over editors just looking at, yeah, like what hubs are they managing? Let's check it out. Let's check out what's going on.
Yeah, editors
very
process
easy.
will be
Yeah.
approved, and over time with the down.
Yeah, if these guys started getting like really crappy content, we just look at it and be like, yeah, you guys need to improve your content or you're kicked from the program. Yeah, I think it's easy.
So like in addition, so editor is going to do like the outreach, like they're going to do some outreach, but in addition to that, do we still think it's worth calling, explicitly saying like, we need your help on this hub, leave a comment, you can earn this much RC if an ResearchHub endorsed user or whatever editor approves you?
I think so. Sometimes when I'm on Reddit, I'll get notifications that's like, hey, 1,500 people have visited this, subreddit in the last week, but nobody's commented or shared a post. Like, click here to share a post. So I think something like that would be cool.
Okay, I like that. I'm just thinking there might be some kind of a way to abuse it, but I like it right now. I like it right now. I know we're over time. Joyce, is there anything else you wanted to chat about? I'll think about this a little more. There is more I wanted to share with you guys, but I think, we are kind of don't have a lot of time.
I guess the only thing is just Nami, like your general thoughts on the whole thing. It would be awesome to just know your like high level impressions.
Yeah. So I've been thinking like why people are dropping, like just like that's the kind of thing of burnout. And I mean, I'm social scientist, a social psychologist, so how much like users interacting with each other, and maybe you already have metrics on that, and then like how much they stick together or not might be a interesting thing to look at, because that if that's the case, you can target resources to social interactions as well. That's just like the coins are important, but also like you can also have another wheel, right? Like we are doing cool stuff, and as a community, and we stick together. So that's just what my thoughts while going listening to your things. But yeah, great work.
I have a quick question for you, Nami. Like, let's say, like, I don't know, you could earn 50, 200 RSC. You don't really know what it means, right? But you could earn some RSC for just posting a paper and posting a comment on a paper. How likely are you to do that?
Just like somebody told me, like
Yeah,
oh,
somebody
yes,
comes and tells you, hey, go to this site, post this paper that you just read, and post your analysis on it. You can earn 200 RSC. It might be $50, it might be $100. What would you think?
I sus maybe like that.
You're sus initially.
Yeah, right.
Then
And so how much trust do I have with this person? I maybe like
Right.
I do, yeah, or like or maybe like I think about opinions valued, like oh, this person is asking actually my opinions, maybe I can put it right there, like those things. Yeah, like the RSC only, I don't know, maybe I'm that kind of person, I'm not sure. That's kind of hard for me, like because it's hard to explain too, right? Like right now it
Yeah.
does no monetary money also say it, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this leads me to think even more that we need to explain what RSC is in a more prominent location. If we're going to go down this route of RSC, like basically like saying, hey, we need your help, you can earn some RSC. Okay, what is RSC kind of thing? Because, yeah, people might be sus.
Yeah, well, on my note, like I think you had somewhere there that like meeting for editors only, things like that, and that was interesting because that just can make people stick together, and when they're burning out, like they can support each other. I'm not sure it's happening in the Power User program, Anton. You don't have a question for Anton, but
Yeah, Anton, do you
Kind of
think for
No,
that?
Anton's left. He left.
You dropped off.
yeah.
It kind of is like there's a Slack channel for it.
Nami,
There was a lot of energy in the beginning, but now it's kind of tapered a little bit.
do you think there's any value in making this invite only, where like you basically already have a social relationship with the person who invites you to like have that air of collegiality?
Yeah, I think at this point of time, I would say yes, because like I mean, in the future should be open, but right now it's like a kind of cool thing that people, like small group of people are doing to make a better change, right? So that's the feel to it. So probably, and maybe for now, that's the way to go in my head. But I know you need to expand later, and the openness and things like that kicks in later. But right now, my answer would be yes to that question.
Yeah, thanks, Nami. No, this all makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff came out of this topic. Anything else you guys want to chat? Like, basically, the other thing I wanted to say, like, I want power users to have some filters. Basically, this is mainly for like Pat. Some filters for like missing abstracts or like missing editorial title or something like that, missing authors, where they can go and fix the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but and in the future, I was like, oh, if we can automate it, great. Right now, we can't automate the payment because we're gonna go with like a dynamic type of program where we're gonna learn from it, and it's gonna be like a loose set of guidelines from what I have gathered, it makes no sense to say like, oh, submit 1 paper or 3 papers per week, because people might hate that, and we don't want them to drop off. But in the future, maybe it makes sense, just not now.
I wonder too, with like our power user program currently, like if we had notifications on people, like if we had built in some email updates for the people who have dropped off to be like, hey, come on back, like if part of it's just due to the, manual.
Lack of engagement loop.
Yeah, like pulling people back is something that I think would happen. And
We could definitely build something in there to see what it would do. I do think though that like we have a small problem of like there's not enough engagement, for people to come back, right? So they're excited the first week, 2 weeks, but then it feels monotonous. And that's a problem we need to solve. Like we're gonna lose anybody who come, like any editors who come in, they're gonna be excited the first week, 2 weeks, they're gonna do a lot of stuff. And after that, if they don't get that like dopamine rush, they're gonna leave.
We got to hire trolls to disagree with people.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you're working on, of adding discussions to the homepage. I think would help. I'm not saying it's going to solve the problem or not, but
yeah, I don't know what it'll do, but yeah, but I feel like we need to like tap into. There's so many people reading a paper, We just need to reach just some of them to go post the paper they're reading this week. Post a comment.
Yeah, but that's like the tricky part. That's why, like, if there was someone that can do the outreach, like let's say Pat, you had a YouTube channel with 2,000 viewers that are academics, and you can say in like, hey, you reading a paper, it's interesting.
Yeah, post it to ResearchHub. Yeah.
And that would be kind of cool thing. Yeah, or like if you have some kind of a connection. I don't know how to tap into it. Other than that, I wish I did. I don't know, but I see what you're saying. Like people are doing it anyway. Like how do
we just need to figure out a way to reach them. And maybe the editor program is the right thing, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a step. At least I think it's a step in the right direction. But yeah, I guess we'll start with that and learn from it. I guess what I'm going to do next, I'm going to just take everything we talked about and digest it and make like the next iteration of this document. And maybe we can, Joyce, Pat, we can, I don't know, talk about it tomorrow or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for presenting, Kobe.
Yeah, no problem. Let me stop presenting. Anything else, Joyce? I'm going to give it back to you in case you want to talk about anything else.
No, I'm good. Thanks for coming, Nami. Appreciate all the feedback.
You're welcome.
Okay, see you next week.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Sure.